If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. I got a comment the other day. You know, he said something about this is the reality of the lifestyle. And he described what his plans were and what was realistic. And I can completely relate to what he was saying. He was saying that, you know, he built his van and he kept imagining that the spot that he had carved out in the van for a shower was going to be plenty of room. He couldn't see any reason why it wouldn't work. Until the first day he had to take a shower and he realized that he really underestimated the space he needed for a shower. It was inconvenient. He could hardly bend over. It was just a real drag and there was nothing good about it. So I ended up starting to take showers outside. But when it got cold, that meant he had to move back into the camper again. Again, I can relate to this. I mean, we've built our camper and we even went with the idea of not taking showers inside the camper. When we built it, we bought a shower tent right away. We realized that we didn't need the shower tent later and put a shower inside the camper. But I do understand what he's saying. It is quite tight in there. You know, as we get older, our flexibility isn't going to be quite as good as what it is now. And we're going to have to really rethink what we're doing. As a matter of fact, you know, it takes me half an hour to set up my shower. And we're working on a plan to figure out how to make it so I don't have to do all that setup. And you're doing this all out here in the National Forest where you don't have any tools. Because he says what he did was when he went back home, he rebuilt his camper and he's given a lot of consideration to the shower. So, you know, he's be able to go back to the house and get tools where, you know, when you're out here and you're doing it, you're kind of stuck with what you got until you can get to a spot where you get tools. Remember, any power tool that I want to run, I got to run it off this 2,000 watt generator. It's not designed to power a lot of big heavy loads like that. It's designed for the camper. My little generator is designed for the camper. It's an inverter generator, you know, Champion 2,000 watt inverter generator. And I one time had to do maintenance on the pop-up, and I borrowed a grinder. That generator was screaming at me, trying to, you know, so I had enough electric to run that grinder. But I mean, like I said, I can relate to what he's saying. When we built the pop-up camper, it was pathetic. We built a shower inside the pop-up camper. We had a little black tub that the water was going to drain into. We had our hose that ran over to the shower, and we used, and a lot of people tell you to do this too. Even today, people still say it. You need to get a hula hoop and put a shower curtain around it. Oh, that was a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Because you're in there and you're so packed in and you cannot bend over. You're just bouncing right off that shower curtain, which means now the shower curtain's coming out of the black tub. So you're getting water all over your camper. The shower curtain sticks to you. Once you get wet and all that soap, I mean, now it's just a jacket on you. It was a terrible idea. And it didn't take us long at all. We were still on our test run, that's what it was. We'd been at it not even a week, and we got rid of that shower. We probably only took 2 showers in it, and we got a shower tent. It was just a disaster. Terrible idea. And the whole time, Carolyn and I, when we were building it, was thinking, this is going to work fine. Carolyn would actually get stressed thinking about having to take a shower in that thing. Another thing was the pop-up camper itself. Now, I realized that Carolyn and I lived in that pop-up camper for just about a year. And now that we're in our camper, we realize how much we didn't like that camper, or the pop-up. I could spend hours and days in that camper, just sitting there listening to the birds. Before we went on our adventure, I could just sit in that pop-up camper and dream about all the adventures we were going to take in it and how great it was. But the reality is as soon as we got in it, you began to realize how big the world was. And this was your shelter from it. A pop-up camper, a tent is what it was. The top portion of it was a tent. I don't know if anybody knows how pop-up campers work, but they got cables at all four corners that raise and lower it. And those cables can break, and that pop-up can just drop down on you. So, I mean, there was a safety risk. We're always trying to brace it up so if it did break, it wouldn't come crashing down on our heads. But if it did break, that's our home. It just broke, and now I'm going to have to spend a couple days repairing it. And anybody that's ever had to replace those cables should know how hard that is. Fortunately, I had an old camper, and I was able to do mine, all four cables, in one day. But, I mean, it was just a constant dread. You know, the environment was always inside with you. The other disadvantage was the truck. I've talked about overweight in the vehicle. Our truck can hold 1,400 pounds. That's with both of us in it, the camper. So, I mean, we're up to what, 550 pounds just with the two of us and the camper. And we're still able to put all our stuff that we need in it. And we have about 500 pounds left over that we can use. Maybe it's 300. But regardless, we still have plenty of room to put more stuff in it if we needed to. The pop-up, as soon as we put the fridge in it, some food, and you know, a couple other items, it was overweight. I put bigger tires on it to try to compensate, but the axle, I mean, the axle was screaming. I think we put 5,000 miles on the pop-up camper and I had to replace the tires. They didn't blow out, but the tread was wearing out. I was just way overweight in that thing. It was just a bad idea. And the problem was, it was our only idea. This is what we had. Sometimes, and people have said this, that the pop-up camper burning down was probably a blessing. Because we have a much nicer home now, living in our truck camper. Thanks for watching. Click like if you liked the video, and happy travels.